to Hook Connections. Today we have a kind of a fill-in because our guest is missing in action, and I hope nothing's wrong, and sending prayers his way for Danny O'Malia. But Jennifer's here today with us. And of course Gina with Star Media, Jennifer with Jennifer to the Rescue, and myself, Barb Hook with Hook Connect. And we just decided today, spur of the moment, nothing planned, that we're going to talk about networking and word of mouth and some of the networking opportunities that are out there for people. And, you know, just how do you do it? You know, how does, oh my goodness, how do you do so much networking, Jennifer?
I feel like I'm in the presence of networking queen, so I'm not exactly sure what I do. How do I do it? It's tiresome. It really is. But how do you expect to get business by sitting in your nice little cubicle or in your office and by your computer? Yeah, you can do social media stuff, but
well, you know,
that's good stuff.
I'm trying to knock social media.
The good thing is that you can't, you know, you can't build friendships if you don't meet with people.
That's true.
And if you don't get to know someone, I mean, you know, like I can talk to you. And I remember from our very first conversation, Gina, that you had a basement that flooded.
Oh, wow.
Now, why do those things stick in my mind? Because that relates to my past in insurance world, you know? But if you can remember one thing from someone that you meet, they're going to appreciate it that you can remember that in the future if something comes up that you might be able to send them an article. And they're going to say, wow, how did you remember that? So do you find that, you know, in your everyday networking? You do?
Oh, sure. I think we probably all have that. Yes. And it does take work. It's
absolutely.
Not, I mean, obviously, you do how many networking events a year or a week?
10 to 20.
10 to 20 a week?
A week.
Oh, my goodness.
And but that's what I do. I network for my businesses. I endorse, you know, numerous partners, so I'm out to promote them.
So you hear somebody says they have a flooded basement, you think, oh, I've got just the right person.
Absolutely.
But that is, you know, your social media, yes. Social media needs to be there, but I do think if we think about it, one-to-one conversations, you're going to get on the phone and call that person more than likely.
Right. Social media just can kind of bridge the gaps between when you can actually see somebody in person or after you're meeting with someone and then you come up with a quick idea of somebody that you can put them in touch with. Sometimes you can connect them through social media without having to do a personal introduction and kind of speed up the process. So personal relationships never are going to, you know, go away, and definitely are much more preferable than doing things through social media. So that's why we all have to get out there.
Absolutely.
And do it.
It isn't easy.
You know, one little connection that you might make to someone that you don't know to someone that you do know may result in lots of business for that person that you do know.
Yeah, it could be life-changing.
Right, right. And, you know, the hard part with me, though, is I come across so many business owners when I'm going through the interview process. They have no idea how to use social media. Yeah. So that's why I always keep Gina's name in my back pocket.
Aren't we glad we know Gina?
I mean, she knows how to help people, you know, and she's there to do that for them. So, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, very cool.
So, Gina, you have something new starting out, a new networking group starting. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, wow. What a great platform. We are going to be starting a Broad Ripple branch of the Northside Networking Group. It will be at Zest, and that will start on Friday, March 13th at noon. So if anybody is looking for a networking opportunity in the Broad Ripple area, you can feel free to join us there.
And will that still be called Northside Networking or Broad Ripple Networking?
Well, it's going to still be Northside.
I'd be Broad Ripple something or another.
We haven't picked a name. I think our group will kind of, you know, maybe vote on a name for it.
So how does that group work?
Well, people will show up, and if someone wants to be... hopefully they'll show up. We're going to have a couple kind of meet and greet the first couple Fridays just to get acquainted with some people that might be interested. But if people want to join the group, there will be a $25 monthly membership fee. It will be industry exclusive, so we'll only have one plumber, one, you know, photographer, one of each person in their industries, you know, so you can kind of lock out your competition. So what if Hook connects
in there and I have all the above?
Well, you are you. You can't be them.
Barb, there's no other Barb.
We won't let anybody else who has an endorsement company come and be a member if you're there. So, yeah. But no, really people, if you're looking for a networking opportunity, a casual, fun, really dedicated group of people that are interested in helping you build your business, then you can come.
And
check
that'll
us
be
out.
weekly, correct?
Yes, every Friday.
Every Friday.
Yeah.
And Jennifer, you're part of one, the You Lead One. When do you meet? When do
We
your
actually
meetings?
meet on Wednesday mornings. We are Northside Networking. We are Northside
The
Networking.
first and original.
We are the first and the original. But we meet on Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. in Noblesville at the Jim Dandy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Which
first
is-
stretch from us Southsiders.
Yeah, so that's why moving a little closer, whatever, to Broad Ripple. But it's obvious that not everything works for everybody.
Absolutely.
So we need to have some options, and we all know the industry exclusive thing is kind of cool. Kind of, makes it a reason to get there and lock in your
Absolutely.
your spot. And,
Absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with with groups that have numbers of the same industry, but that's not exactly the business model we're going after.
Right.
Right.
So that our group has been going strong for a few years. So it's going
very cool.
No, you've got a few though.
And I started one, myself and a board, started one the first Wednesday of every month. It's at Scotty's Brew House on Southport Crossing, just at 65 and Southport Road. Easy access from anybody all over the state. And we have an educational we have a speaker in every month that speaks about 40 minutes, including questions and answers. And it's just to either educate, motivate, or inspire people. So it could be business owners, it could be their salespeople, it could be whoever is doing their marketing for the company. For instance, it's the first Wednesday, and today's speaker was an attorney, and talking about when you should have a legal binding contract made up, and some of the other things a business should be concerned about. So it was very, very educational. And there are several people there that went up and asked her questions and there were a lot of questions in the room because they don't have contracts, which we know are really important.
We know contracts are a little bit important.
Absolutely.
Right?
So
I do think there's kind of that overwhelming thing that there's a need, and there's nothing wrong with going to a number of those.
Absolutely.
I mean, why wouldn't you? You go to 10 to 20 a week.
Right. And that includes
know.
private individual meetings too. So I might meet with 4 or 5 different individuals during the week. So
I do know when I first started talking to you, I think I was watching on Facebook, you had back to back. Like, oh my goodness. But that is your business.
that's
not
what I
every,
do.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. So maybe there's a lot of people out there that are scared to get out there and network. And, I mean, about a year ago, I was brand new to networking as well. And is there some helpful hints we could give to some people
maybe we
that are
can
looking?
come back after the break and we can do that. Maybe we'll think of a couple. We'll be back. Oh, it's not my show.
We'll be back.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage. Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Everyone knows it's easy to find first-run movies in the big theaters. But where can you go to watch your favorite classic movies on the big screen for the perfect night out? Why rent a flick when you can rent the entire theater? Call today to reserve our 32-seat theater for your next event, or just stop by to see what's showing this weekend. The 14 by 7 foot screen and the high quality digital surround sound system offers all the amenities you would expect from the big theaters, with a laid back atmosphere and comfortable seating of your own home. Wofford Theater at 1744 South 10th Street in Noblesville gives you the classic movies you want with a big theater experience.
Welcome back to Hook Connections, and you kind of never know what you're going to get here with us. Today we are here with our guest Jennifer Johnson of Jennifer to the Rescue, and of course Barbara Hook from Hook Connect. We are talking to you about networking and how you can get started, and this segment we're going to give you some helpful tips that might make it a little bit easier for you to get out there and make it make sense for you. So during the break, we were talking about some different items. Do you want to start off with?
The first thing you always need to have is plenty of business cards. Mm-hmm. And you need to have a plan before you go to that meeting. You might do some research and see who all is going if the meeting is done through Eventbrite. So you might even know ahead of time who you want to make a connection with for a possible, you might be able to help them or they might be able to help you. I highly suggest your business cards have a matte backing on the back so they can be written on. And I use these business cards when I go to a meeting to write down on the back of them, like this one is from my Momentum Indie meeting today with today's date. So I know when I clean up those business cards at the end of a day or at the end of a week, which I sometimes just do it weekly, I know every place I met them and what I need to do. Exactly. If it was great to see you at a certain meeting, at least it's a follow-up with those people. And I think that's real important, is to make sure that you can write on a business card, because there's nothing worse than trying to write notes down on somebody's card and it be all glossy.
I'm not sure if mine's matte or not. That's a good point.
What about you? Do you have a
I don't know. I was just thinking, well, I don't know. I'm joking. I know. I've been doing it for a long time. The big thing that I'd say is, after doing it for a number of years, is I used to go to events and grab everybody's card. I think I still do, but it's easier for me to say, okay, some of these people I'm never going to follow up. There's no reason. So you do want to kind of realize that you can't do it all. I mean, maybe that's just something you learn as you do it, but you're like, oh my, I used to feel so guilty that I wasn't following up with every single person, and it was just not easy to do that. But somebody in the networking world, and you're wonderful women, but I don't think it was either one of you, but somebody said along the way, you just know those people you're going to follow up with, and there's just some that are not. So you kind of go, and so I go through my cards and I try to get rid of the ones that I know I don't.
Have you ever had somebody come up to you at a networking event and they were sell themselves?
Yes, that's a good
And then you walk away from them and you throw their card in the trash can.
Well, yeah, and that's definitely not the approach.
That's one thing you don't do.
Right. You don't want to be puking. Isn't that what they say? Don't throw up all over. You don't want to throw up all over them.
Yeah. You want to have your elevator speech down, but that's just to introduce yourself, not to talk about every single service and product that you offer in your first minute of meeting someone. Right. You want to try to gain some common ground with them, find something that you might have in common that would help start the basis of a relationship.
And don't you think the first meeting, when you first meet them, you should be concerned about how you can help them?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because that's what we're all about, especially women. We're all about helping, but your business is a helping business, mine is, and so is yours. Yeah. So, but it's always, who do you need to meet, or how can I help you meet somebody, or because the me days are over. So it's time to focus on other people.
Yeah. Well, I think when you're younger in the networking world, that's like you're thinking, well, that's a sale. Well, maybe months down the road it is. But the best meetings I've ever had are those people that say, how can I help you? And I know that they're not just there to sell me.
For some reason, I've been networking for 40 years, okay?
Oh my goodness.
And when people...
So were you 5 when you started?
Yeah, right.
She was 5.
So when people want someone to learn about networking, they always have them call me to set up a one-to-one. Well, there's this one life insurance company out there, and I'm not going to say the name, but it starts with an N. They train their salespeople to be a little bit different. And the first time I was approached by one of these outside salespeople, they sat across the table from me and poured their heart and soul in a sales pitch. I'm not that kind of person to take that well. So
I can imagine.
I proceeded to tell him this is not the best way to network.
That was good.
And you should be concerned about making connections for others instead of trying to force that person to give you 5 names of their loved family members. I would not give anyone any names of a family member unless I've done business with them or could recommend them myself.
I believe I've had the same experience
It's
with
probably the same person.
life insurance company, and they came into my office and they had 4 pages of my LinkedIn contacts printed off, and they wanted me to circle the people that they could follow up with, and I was like, wow, I almost felt kind of stalked. Like,
Well, it is. It is
Well, and
kind of.
and this is the way I dealt with, and it's some of my dear loved friends that did this to me. But they're doing it to teach this person a lesson, because then the next person from that company that called me, he called me and he said, I'm from so-and-so said to call you. I'd like to meet you for coffee or lunch or whatever. And I said, okay, but I have one request. I don't have a problem with teaching you how to network and the best procedures, but you have to leave your sales pitch in the trunk. And it was a great networking meeting.
Good.
And he never pestered me, and he actually took notes on the best way to network. Because the
Wow.
first thing I said is, erase what you've been taught so far. It's okay.
yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I'm not alone in all the crazy networking stories, then I can tell you.
No.
Yeah, I'm
Makes
sure
me
we've all
feel
had
much better.
some doozies of some interesting.
And when you sit in
people.
an hour meeting and you talk 10 minutes because the other person won't shut up, that's a pretty good sign to
Yeah.
crash
Well,
the
don't
car.
they say that the best or one of the best tools is, are you a good listener? I mean, where does that come from? Isn't it networking 101 or something?
Yeah.
And it's, well, sure, I'm going to sit and talk with you if you're going to listen to me. It's going to make me a little more likely to want to do business with you than
Right.
if you're just shoving it down my throat. So,
But anyway, so that's just a few tips
Yeah,
so far.
that's good.
Any other ideas, Gina, that you would have? Where's a place that people can look for networking events?
Oh gosh, if you have a LinkedIn business page, there's always all kinds of events and things that are listed on there. There's, of course, your local Chamber of Commerce. There are, all you have to do is type in networking Indianapolis in your Google search bar, and you could probably find 1,000 different places to go. So there's really
Absolutely.
no reason to not be out there promoting yourself, because you have to. There's no way of getting around that.
Right.
So, yeah.
And actually, when I do get my website redesigned, I'm going to actually list some of the networking events that are
That's a
around
good
there
idea.
on my website. So I think it's a real good
But
idea.
there's ones popping up all the time, as we've already
Absolutely.
discussed. So it's,
Yeah.
it's ever changing, but what a nice service to offer. Yeah.
We should thank our sponsors, Logan Street Signs and Banners, for allowing us to be here today. And we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage. Logan Street Signs and Banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Everyone knows it's easy to find first-run movies in the big theaters. But where can you go to watch your favorite classic movies on the big screen for the perfect night out? Why rent a flick when you can rent the entire theater? Call today to reserve our 32-seat theater for your next event, or just stop by to see what's showing this weekend. The 14 by 7 foot screen and the high quality digital surround sound system offers all the amenities you would expect from the big theaters, with a laid back atmosphere and comfortable seating of your own home. Wofford Theater at 1744 South 10th Street in Noblesville gives you the classic movies you want with a big theater experience.
Welcome back to the Connections. That was a quick break.
You were networking.
I was networking on the phone.
See, as I said, everybody's got to make those connections.
Teaching someone how they can promote the Hook Connect event that they're going to be on because they had the wrong date.
Well,
So,
at least we know that
at
he's
least we
okay.
know he's okay.
Yeah, that's
so, Jennifer, what is your normal procedure for reaching out to people after you've met with them?
Oh my goodness! After I've met with them,
After
like
you've met
at a
with them,
networking
at
event,
a networking event.
I try not to let it go too long. I mean, I think isn't there a rule? I mean, these are kind of like unwritten rules, I should say.
Absolutely.
Probably. I think everybody has to do what's natural, but the longer you wait to follow up, the more it's just kind of. I mean, I've gotten emails from somebody 3 weeks later, 3 months later.
I have sent those emails sometimes just because I get backlogged.
Right, and I understand, and that's why I say you kind of have to figure out, do you really need to connect with everybody? Maybe not. But the procedure, I would say, is somewhere between 24 and 48 hours. Just trying to follow up with an email or maybe a quick phone call. Depends. I do a lot of things, and in some cases, an email I think is going to get pitched or deleted.
So what's one thing that you do that people normally
I do follow
like?
up with cards.
Very good.
You know, not usually a gift for somebody I just met at a networking group. Thinking about that sounds kind of funny. It's not usually a
So you
gift.
were kind of stalking.
But I started thinking about that. That sounds pretty creepy.
Your face is getting red.
No, usually just a postcard. Hey, it was nice to meet you.
Right,
and
right.
actually, I use send out cards. So to me, that's it's a really easy way to do a number of cards at one time.
How about you, Gina? What do you do?
I usually send them either a LinkedIn or Facebook request. If I think that it's more of a business relationship, then I'll do a LinkedIn request. If I think it's somebody that I can, become friends with or would want to go to lunch with, then I'll send them a Facebook friend request, and usually that'll start a conversation. Hey, great to meet you. Sometimes I'll inbox them and say, hey, it was great to meet you. Since I am in social media, I try to use that as my way to reach out, just to show that, there's ways that you can use social media.
And I would have to say, since she's been around, I've actually been like, hey, I wonder if I'm friends with them on Facebook. I wonder if so it does help to.
Well, and that's really funny because when I was on your show, when Michelle Mayer was on your show,
Yes.
and then find out at the show that she used to date my cousin, then I had to go to my cousin's Facebook to see if he was still friends with her, just because.
Before you made any comments
just,
about anything, just to make sure.
But we do look at social media.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do things based on social media. And I see a lot of positive quotes at 7:30 in the morning based on social media, put on social media.
Right.
So, and it's real important. I think businesses are kind of forgetting what it's all about, by not putting on social media.
Well, even since I've, been working with you in our networking groups and stuff, I mean, more businesses that used to be maybe insurance, maybe, lawyers or attorneys and some that maybe are a little bit regulated. It seems like they're even saying, we got to have some kind of a presence. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, insurance agents.
Especially consumer driven.
Absolutely, because
Exactly.
your website might not get nearly as much traffic as your Facebook page would, and that's just because people, they're already on Facebook, so they're going to look for you there before they go look someplace else. So,
and even those business owners that say, "Well, I sell to other businesses." Well, those other businesses aren't consumers,
right? And they're not regular people that have Facebook pages.
right. So I don't. Sometimes I just.
I mean, there has to be. You have to be very careful,
right?
Because I think the first thing that I get from people is I'll say, "Are you on Facebook?" It's not because I want their, they're like, I think they imagine that Facebook's just terrible. It's all dependent on what you put on it. I mean, if you are out of control and you're stalking people, I'm not a
garbage out.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing that, then don't go on Facebook because that's not going to be good. But it is another way, and it's a virtual relationship. I mean, business.
I mean, there's
as well.
groups on, Facebook full of people that that you might not have ever even met before, but that you could, do business with. So you have to have a good mix of having personal relationships and getting out there and going to meetings, as well as maintaining your online and your relationships.
And I will have to say that many times people that you meet while networking, you could have met somebody back 10, 12 years ago, and they could be great friends now. So you not only just develop those business partners, but it's friendships, and they're friendships for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Well, it's kind of funny sitting here thinking, you can make sure we connect with them on the social media end, and then, then you reach out and then you go to Barb and say, hey, Barb, what about this company? I'm going to go. So it's kind of cool. That's a good topic.
And the thing is, where did we all meet?
At a networking event.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And one of those, I'm joking.
Everyone is, it used to be everyone was within 6 degrees of separation of everyone, but within 3 degrees, I think on LinkedIn, I have like 12 million connections or something. That's
crazy.
That. Yeah, it's just absolutely crazy.
I gotta go check out. Am I connected with you on LinkedIn? I probably am.
I'm sure you are.
But forget it, I won't go there. But I had something from LinkedIn. I don't even really work it that much. And they said, you have been so successful on LinkedIn. I'm like, really? But it's just, I think once you get it going, it works.
And some stuff I still don't know about, like Instagram.
That's
my daughter uses this Snapchat thing, and she tries to get a message to me, and by the time I figure out how to get it open, the picture's gone.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of those popping up.
So what is this Instagram? Can it be done for a business?
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially for businesses that have a portfolio of work, graphic designers, people that are chefs, people that have clothing lines, makeup and multi-level marketing companies, Avon, all of those.
Very
because
good.
it's just pictures of your products and services. Now they do videos and things too. So that's a whole nother topic of social media.
You guys should talk about that sometime.
We're going to be doing some social media training seminars right here at the Wofford Theater coming up soon. So we'll be sure to let you know.
Yeah.
Are those going to be done during the day or in the evening?
In the evening.
Oh, good. I'll come up to that.
Yeah.
Looking at our producer. He's like, what? You are going to do this?
There's a fee.
I'll pay the fee.
Yeah.
Well, the fee is to stay away, right?
Number 2 at White Castle.
All right. Well, we're obviously
All right.
getting
Well,
a little slap happy.
I think our guest for today is going to be back on April the 25th. He had the wrong date down. Next week, we have a great guest on. It's Karen Wilczewski.
Compared to this guest?
No,
So
you're
it's-
great too, Jennifer.
I'm joking.
From Top Dog Communication.
Karen is great.
Especially those people looking for a job. They could be unemployed.
Oh, that's true.
She is going to teach us how and why it's important to have your LinkedIn profile professionally written to tell your story. And it might attract a lot more people for jobs towards you, which I think is very important, especially right now.
And if you want to learn how to blog, she definitely can help you with that as
Absolutely.
well.
You have to,
Absolutely.
You just have to tune in next
I
week.
send them to her, and she tweaks them and gets them back to me within an hour, and it's like, how did she put all them red marks on there in like an hour? But thanks again for the sponsorship, Logan Street Signs and Banners, and Jennifer for being our pro tem guest today. We love having you, though. And we will be back next week.